Hello friends, in the previous lecture we have seen the concept of functions. We know that if x and y are non-empty sets, then a function f from x to y is a rule that assigns each element of x to unique element of y. If x has m elements, y has n elements, we know that the Cartesian product x cross y has mn elements and there are 2 raised to mn relations from x to y. Now the question is, how many functions are there from x to y? So we want to see the number of functions from x to y. Let x has m elements and y has n elements, then there are n raised to m functions from x to y. For example, let x consist of elements a, b, c and y set has elements 1, 2. List all possible relations from x to y which are functions. So see, x has 3 elements, y has 2 elements. So the number of possible functions are 2 raised to 3, that is 8. So number of functions from x to y is equal to 2 raised to 3. Because y has 2 elements and x has 3 elements, it is 2 raised to 3, that is 8. There are totally 8 functions from x to y and the functions are as below. The first function, we say f1, we relate every element. So a with 1, b with 1 and c with 1. Every element is related with unique element. So this is one function. The second function, I will say a with 1, b is related with 1 and c is related with 2. Or a is related with 1, b is related with 2 and c is related with 1. Or it may be a is related with 2, b is related with 1, c is related with 1. It may be a is related with 2, b is related with 2 and c is related with 1. Or a is related with 2, b is related with 1, c is related with 2. A is related with 1, b with 2 and c with 2. Or all a, b, c are related with 2. A, 2, b, 2 and c, 2. Observe that every element of x is related to unique element of y. So all these 8 are functions from x to y. Now we are going to see one important concept in function, that is types of function. The first type is known as one-one function. So what is meant by one-one? It is also known as injective function. Let x and y be non-empty sets. Then a function f from x to y is said to be 1-1 function, or it is also known as 1-to-1 function, or it is also known as injective function. If for all x1 and x2 belonging to x, x1 is not equal to x2, implies that f of x1 is not equal to f of x2. So, a function f from x to y is said to be 1-1 function if you have distinct elements of x, they are having distinct images in y. So, this implies that f is 1-1 function from x to y if distinct elements in x has distinct images in y. Then that function is known as 1-1 function. Distinct elements in x must have distinct images in y. Or in other words, start with any two elements x1 and x2 in x which are not equal, prove that f of x1 is not equal to f of x2. We say that the function is 1-1 function. Consider example. Let f is from open interval 0-1 to r defined as fx is equal to 1 upon x for all x belonging to open interval 0-1. Show that f is 1-1 function. So, we want to show that f is 1-1 function. Start with any two arbitrary elements from domain. Domain is open interval 0-1. So, start with any two arbitrary element x1 and x2 in domain. And let us assume that x1 is not equal to x2. If we are able to prove that f of x1 is not equal to f of x2, then the function becomes 1-1. So, always start with two elements in domain, start the elements not equal, so x1 is not equal to x2, and prove that f of x1 is not equal to f of x2. Now, x1 is not equal to x2, so 1 upon x1 is not equal to 1 upon x2. So, 1 upon x1 is not equal to 1 upon x2. But what is 1 upon x1? It is nothing but f of x1. This implies that f of x1 is not equal to f of x2. Therefore, for all elements x1 and x2 in domain 0-1, x1 is not equal to x2 implies that f of x1 is also not equal to f of x2, and therefore f is 1-1 function. Let us consider second example. Let f is from R to R, defined by fx is equal to x cube for every x belonging to R. Show that f is one function. So to prove that f is one function, always start with any two arbitrary elements from domain. Now domain is R, so start with two elements, say x1 and x2 in domain, and let us assume that they are not equal. So let x1 is not equal to x2. We want to prove that fx1 is not equal to f of x2. So that is our aim, that is f of x1 is not equal to f of x2. Start with let x1. We want to prove that is our claim. We want to prove that f of x1 is not equal to f of x2. That is to prove that what is f of x1? F of x1 is nothing but x1 cube, and f of x2 means x2 cube. You want to prove that x1 cube is not equal to x2 cube. That is, we want to prove that x1 cube minus x2 cube is not equal to 0. Now what is a cube minus b cube? We know that a cube minus b cube is nothing but a minus b, a square plus ab plus b square. So use this. If you want to prove that x1 cube minus x2 cube is not equal to 0, we want to prove that x1 minus x2, according to this we factorize. So x1 minus x2 into x1 square plus x1 x2 plus x2 square is not equal to 0. This we want to prove. If you are able to prove this, obviously f of x1 is not equal to f of x2 and our aim will be satisfied. So we want. Now there are different cases depending on this x1 and x2 because they are real numbers. Both the real numbers may be positive, both may be negative, any one of them may be 0 or they may be of different sign, that is opposite signs. So consider the cases. There are following cases. The first case is both x1 and x2 are positive or both are negative. So if both are positive, obviously the product of positive is positive, so x1 into x2 is positive and the square is always positive. So this whole term is surely greater than 0 if both are positive. Similarly, both are negative, negative into negative, that is x1 into x2, negative into negative becomes positive and the square is always positive. So in that case also this term becomes greater than 0. So if both are positive or both are negative, in both the cases the term x1 square plus x1 x2 plus x2 square is always greater than 0 because the product of positive is again positive, or if both are negative the product of two negative is again positive. So the total term will be positive, so this term is greater than 0. If this term is greater than 0 means that it is not equal to 0. What about x1 and x2? x1 is not equal to x2 is given. Therefore, x1 minus x2 is also not equal to 0. Also, as x1 is not equal to x2 as given, this implies that x1 minus x2 is also not equal to 0. Therefore, the total product x1 minus x2 into x1 square plus x1 x2 plus x2 square is not equal to 0. By combining these two results by 1 and 2, we combine the two results. This is greater than 0, this is not equal to 0, so obviously the product is not equal to 0, and the product is not equal to 0 means that x1 cube minus x2 cube is not equal to 0, means that f of x1 is not equal to f of x2. So our aim is satisfied. If x1 is not equal to x2, f of x1 is also not equal to f of x2. Second case, if any one of x1 and x2 is 0, both cannot be 0 because we have given that x1 is not equal to x2. Both are not equal. So any one of them can be 0. If one is 0, if any one is 0, that is x1 or x2 is 0, obviously either x1 cube is 0 or x2 cube is 0. So this implies that if either x1 cube is 0 or x2 cube is 0, both cannot be 0 because any one of them is 0. If x1 is 0, x1 cube will be 0, but in that case x2 is non-zero, so obviously x2 cube will be non-zero in that case. So either this is 0 or this is 0. This implies that x1 cube is not equal to x2 cube, as one will be 0 and other will be non-zero. So obviously they are not equal, means that in this case also f of x1 is not equal to f of x2, and therefore starting with x1 not equal to x2, we get f of x1 is not equal to f of x2, means that in this case also the function is 1, 1. Consider the third case, case 3. x1 and x2 are of opposite signs. So one of them will be positive, another will be negative. So what will happen? So if x1 and x2 are opposite sign, this implies that x1 cube and x2 cube are also of opposite signs. If x1 is positive, x1 cube is positive. So x2 will be negative, x2 cube will be negative. So one will be positive, other is negative, implies that they are not equal. So x1 cube is not equal to x2 cube, having opposite signs. And because they are opposite signs, they are not equal, means that in this case also f of x1 is not equal to f of x2. So in all cases, for all x1 and x2 belonging to R, x1 not equal to x2 implies that f of x1 is not equal to f of x2, and therefore f is 1, 1 function. So observe that the function fx is equal to x cube from R to R is 1, 1 function. Now this is definition, that is a function f is 1, 1 if for all x1, x2 in the domain x, x1 not equal to x2 implies that f of x1 is not equal to f of x2. Then we say that the function is 1, 1. But from logic we know that every statement is equivalent to its contrapositive. That is, we know that from logic P implies Q. This is any statement. It is logically equivalent to its contrapositive, that is negation Q implies negation P. This is known to us, and therefore the same definition, that is x1 not equal to x2, implies that f of x1 not equal to f of x2. How we write down? What is this? We are saying that x1 not equal to x2 implies that f of x1 not equal to f of x2. So this is logically equivalent to, what will be logically equivalent to? Negation q, negation of this means that f of x1 is equal to f of x2 implies that x1 is equal to x2. So see that the same definition, that is x1 not equal to x2 implies f of x1 not equal to f of x2, can be written as f of x1 is equal to f of x2 implies that x1 is equal to x2. So the proposition says that a function f from x to y is said to be one function if for all x1 and x2 in domain x, f of x1 is equal to f of x2 implies that x1 is equal to x2. So in some cases it is easy to use definition, whereas in some cases if you want to prove that it is function, it is easy to use proposition, that it start with f of x1 is equal to f of x2 and prove that x1 is equal to x2. In definition we start with x1 not equal to x2 and prove that f of x1 not equal to f of x2. So you can use either proposition or definition to prove that the function is 1. For example, let f is from R to R, defined as f of x is equal to 3x plus 2 for all x belonging to R. Prove that f is 1 function. So instead of using definition, I will prove this using proposition. So start with any two elements from domain, that is R. So start with x1 and x2 belonging to domain R, and let us start with f of x1 is equal to f of x2. So let f of x1 is equal to f of x2. We want to reach to x1 is equal to x2. Now what is f of x1 by definition? It is 3x1 plus 2 because x is 3x. So if you replace x by x1, the definition becomes 3x1 plus 2 is equal to 3x2 plus 2. On both sides 2 gets cancelled. We get 3x1 is equal to 3x2. Divide both sides by 3. We get x1 is equal to x2. Therefore, starting with f of x1 is equal to f of x2, this implies that x1 is equal to x2 for all x1 and x2 in domain R. Therefore, the function is 1. So see, we have used the proposition to prove that the function is 1 instead of using definition. Or consider another example. Let f is from 0 pi to R, defined as fx is equal to cos x for every x belonging to interval, that is domain. Prove that f is 1 function. So to prove that f is 1 function, we will use this proposition, that is starting with any two arbitrary element x1 and x2 in domain and starting with f of x1 is equal to f of x2, we will reach to x1 is equal to x2, showing that f is 1. So let us start with two elements in domain. Suppose that x1 and x2 belongs to domain. And let us assume that f of x1 is equal to f of x2. That is cos of x1 is equal to cos of x2. We want to prove that x1 is equal to x2. That is our aim. If you are able to prove that x1 is equal to x2, we say that f of x1 is equal to f of x2 implies that x1 is equal to x2. Hence, the function is 1, 1. So, what is meant by cos of x1 is equal to cos of x2? That is cos of x1 minus cos of x2 is equal to 0. Now, you know the formula for cos C minus cos D. What is cos C minus cos D formula? It is nothing but minus 2 sine C plus D by 2 into sine of C minus D by 2. So, use that formula. So, what is cos of x1 minus cos of x2? It is minus 2 sine x1 plus x2 by 2 into sine of x1 minus x2 by 2 is equal to 0. But minus 2 is not equal to 0. So, the product is 0. The product is 0 means either first term is 0 or second term is 0. So, this implies either sine of x1 plus x2 by 2 is equal to 0 or sine of x1 minus x2 by 2 is equal to 0. Either the first term is 0 or second is 0 because we want the product to be 0 and minus 2 is not equal to 0. So, either this is 0 or this is 0. But x1 and x2 comes from the interval 0 pi. So, obviously x1 plus x2 by 2 or x1 minus x2 by 2 again lie in the same interval. So, as x1 and x2 belongs to the domain 0 pi, this implies that x1 plus x2 by 2 and x1 minus x2 by 2 again belongs to the interval 0 pi. This implies that, so see, these for sine the numbers are in this interval and where 0 to pi lies, that is first and second quadrant. If we know that in first quadrant all are positive and in second quadrant sine is positive. Now we are taking the angle between 0 to pi, that is first and second quadrant, and in first and second quadrant sine is always greater than 0. So, if x1 plus x2 by 2, because as we know that sin theta is always greater than 0 for 0 less than theta less than pi. That is, if theta lies in this interval, sin theta is always positive, that we know. So, for other terms, what will happen? Because it is positive for this and we want the value to be 0, what this implies, hence, using this result and the term, this implies that x1 plus x2 by 2 must be equal to 0 or x1 minus x2 by 2 must be equal to 0. Because we want the term sine to be equal to 0 answer, and we know that if it is between 0 to pi, it is greater than 0. So, only case remains if it is equal to 0, and for equal to 0, so either this will be 0 or this will be 0, so that the sine term becomes 0. This implies that either x1 plus x2 is 0 or x1 minus x2 is 0. But x1 plus x2, while saying this in this term, what we have assumed that x1 is greater than or equal to x2 because we are using this formula here. So, what is assumed here? We have assumed that x1 is greater than or equal to x2, and therefore, because they are the term in x1 and x2 are in 0 pi, obviously, and therefore both should be equal 0, then only it is possible. So, this implies that x1 is equal to x2. If you want the answer to be 0, this is if and only if x1 is equal to x2, and therefore, for all x1 and x2 belonging to R, f of x1 is equal to f of x2 implies that x1 must be equal to x2. This implies that the function f is 1 function. So observe that because sin theta is always greater than 0 in this interval and our interval only contains one extra number here, that is 0. So if you want the answer to be 0, the angle should be equal to 0, and if you want the angle equal to 0, the sum is 0 or the subtraction is 0. This is possible if and only if both the numbers are same, that is x1 must be equal to x2. x1 is equal to x2 implies that the function becomes 1 function. So the function cos x from interval 0 pi to r is again a 1 function. Consider next example. Let the function f is from 0 infinity to r defined as fx is equal to x square. Show that f is 1 1. We will use proposition or you can use definition, makes no difference. If you want to use proposition, we start with two numbers x1 and x2 from domain, that is from 0 to infinity, and let us start with f of x1 is equal to f of x2, that is x1 square is equal to x2 square, and if the squares are equal and where the number lies, the number are from 0 to infinity, that is positive only. All the numbers are positive only. So obviously the square is positive implies that x1 and x2, if they are equal, x1 square is equal to x2 square, and these are the number which are positive, so obviously x1 is equal to x2. Therefore f of x1 is equal to f of x2 implies that x1 is equal to x2 for all x1 x2 belonging to domain, that is 0 infinity, and therefore the function is 1 1. Now see, I will only change the domain, the function as it is, only change the domain. See what will happen. So the domain affects whether the function is 1 1 or not. So consider the example. Suppose f is from r to r, that is a function on r defined by fx is equal to x square for all x belonging to r. It's f11. We want to check whether f is 1 function. Now see the domain, function is same x square, only I will change the domain. Here the x1 and x2 comes from 0 to infinity, means both x1 and x2 are positive. So if their squares are equal, the numbers are equal because they are positive. Now in this case, if the number comes from domain, that is r, that is real number, and we know that the square of negative number is again positive. So what will happen? If you start with x1 and x2 from domain r, and if you assume that f of x1 is equal to f of x2, that is x1 square is equal to x2 square. Now this does not surely imply that x1 is equal to x2. Why? Because now element comes from real number. For example, we have f of 1 and f of minus 1. See, f of 1 means 1 square. F of minus 1 means minus 1 square. Both square are same. Minus 1 square is also 1. 1 square is also 1. But 1 is not equal to minus 1. But 1 is not equal to minus 1. That is, f of 1 is equal to f of minus 1. but but 1 is not equal to minus 1, and therefore f is not 1 1. Though the square are equal, the numbers are not equal implies that if you change the domain, though the function remains same but domain changes, this implies that the function is not 1 1. So the function fx is equal to x square on R is not 1 1 function. Consider next example. Let f is from n to n, that is natural numbers to natural numbers, given by f of n is equal to n plus 2 if n is odd and is equal to 2n if n is even. Show that f is 1 1 function. So start with any two elements from domain. So start with n1 and n2 belonging to domain, that is natural numbers. And let us start with f of n1 is equal to f of n2. Now see, because n1 and n2 are natural numbers, maybe both odd, maybe both even, or one odd, one even. So there are three cases. See the first case. The first case is both n1 and n2 are even. So let us start with f of n1 is equal to f of n2. But both n1 and n2 are even, and if the number is even, the definition is 2n. So in this case it will be 2n1 is equal to 2n2. This implies that n1 is equal to n2, and therefore f of n1 is equal to f of n2 implies that n1 is equal to n2 for all n1, n2 in the domain, implies that f is 1 1 in this case. See the case second. Both n1 and n2 are odd, and let us assume that f of n1 is equal to f of n2 because both are odd, and if n is odd, the definition is n plus 2. So this will becomes n1 plus 2 is equal to n2 plus 2, that is again n1 is equal to n2. So if both are odd, f of n1 is equal to f of n2 also imply that n1 is equal to n2 for all n1 and n2 belonging to natural number. So in this case also f is 1 1. Now consider the third case. Any one of them is odd and another is even. So any one of n1 and n2 is odd and other is even without loss of generality, that is it may be anyone, makes no difference. So without loss, let us assume that n1 is odd and n2 is even, and let us assume that f of n1 is equal to f of n2, but n1 is odd, and for odd the definition is n1 plus 2 and f of n2, that is 2n2. But see, n1 is odd, so if n1 is odd, n1 plus 2 is again odd. If n2 is even, 2 n2 n2 is also even, and we will get odd is equal to even, which is wrong. Means that this case does not exist. That is, one even and one odd is not possible. So there are only two cases, either both will be odd or both will be even, and in both cases the function is 1 1. Therefore, in all cases the function is 1 1, implies that f is 1 1 on n. So on natural number, this function is 1 1 function. So observe that today we have seen what is meant by 1 1 function. Either use the definition or use the proposition to show that it is 1 1. According to definition, start with any two elements in the domain, say x1 and x2 in the domain D. x1 not equal to x2 should imply f of x1 not equal to f of x2, then f is 1 1. And according to proposition, start with two elements x1 and x2 in domain, start with f of x1 is equal to f of x2 and prove that x1 is also equal to x2. This implies that the function is 1 1. In the next lecture, we said we will see next type, that is onto functions. Thank you.